Oh! Yeah. The swell. Right. Hello again. Start again. Right, there we go. The first bait for today. Nice big bit of cod wrapped in squid. And I'm going to get that chucked out. Wednesday. It's 1 degree, or it was when I was driving over here. It might get a bit warmer later on, hopefully. I've came to Cambois and I've got 2 rods out. I've got the bass rod out, 13 foot, and I've got the Sonic Blackout too. So I'm fishing on the Ram. There's been a big sea on for the last few days and it's calmed down a bit now. And it's safe enough to be here. There's a couple of guys down there too. We've been having a chat. I'm fishing carp and squid on 1 rod, and on the bass rod I'm just fishing a bit of bluey. I'll be trying a bit of mussel as well in a bit when the mussel thaws out, but at the minute it's still a bit frozen. The rod's been in the water for about 20 minutes. Nothing yet, but I'll bring you back when we get some action. Right, well, this mussel that's been in my pocket has thawed out a bit now, so I'm going to bring the bass rod in and put a bit of mussel on and cast that back out. So on the bass rod I'm using 2 hooks, 1 up, 1 down. Size 1 on the bottom and a size 2 on the top. That should be okay for that rod. And I'm just going to use little baits on it. So a little bit of bluey and a mussel. The guys down there are a bit too close to the water, I think. Just keep getting soakened on the ramp. It's a dangerous place to be fishing like that. You got a bit wet there? You need your waterproof, son. Aye. Hi, nice to meet you. See you later. Thank you. Cheers. So there's 2 guys that were here. They've disappeared. They were just down for an hour to do some lure bass fishing. They didn't get anything. And one of them got very wet. He wasn't wearing waterproofs and he got splashed. And he's got only got 1 leg and these other one's a metal leg, so he said it was going to start rusting, so he had to get away. But it was nice to meet you too. I'll hopefully see you out and about somewhere again sometime in the future. I think I'm getting little bites on the bass rod. It's so weird going back to such a light rod. Before I got the Sonic, this felt kind of really, felt quite stiff actually, to be honest with you. And certainly did the job for what I was using it for. But now when I go from the Sonic to this, it just feels really soft and floppy. But it is a bass rod, so it is supposed to be a lot more flexible and a lot lighter. It's a very, very nice rod to use, to be honest with you. It's the Abu Garcia Esprit Specialist Bass. 13 foot. No. I'm going to leave that out. Leave that alone for now. And I think I'll change the bait on the big rod. Both rod tips are bouncing around just a little bit, but there is quite a swell on. Right, let's get the big rod in. Yeah, there's a crab on there. So, first catch of the day, not what I want. A little crab. But I'm going to get that off, and I'm still going to change the bait because that'll be quite washed out now. So I'm just going to cut that squid off and put a new bait on it. It's about 11 o'clock now. The tide should be well on its way out. High tide was at 10 o'clock. So I'm fishing the tide down. It probably would be better to be fishing it up, but the weather hasn't been great, so I've had to come out when I can get out. Sometimes it's like that, isn't it? You can't fish in the ideal time, but you make the most of the time that you've got. Wow, this is a nice bait. I think it's quite rocky over there, but the kind of it smooths out. There's a lot of sand here and some nice broken ground. So I think I'm fishing in the right spot. Knocks on this rod. It is very hard to tell. Both rods are kind of nodding up and down. Snagged again. Oh, that feels a bit heavier. Is that a fish? I think I might have a little fish on here. Right, need to get down a bit closer to the water. I'll just get over here. Need to stay safe. Ah, yeah. There we go. Hey! Oh no, I'm snagged on the rocks. I got it. Yeah, I've got it. Aha! Brilliant. Excellent. Nice flatty. Oh, hey, excellent. That. Fantastic. Well, I have to say that's cheddars up. Look at that. Nice orange spotted flatfish. Right, I'll get that off the hook. Right, well, I was hoping to get some flatfish today because I did a bit of reading on how to fish and where to fish along this stretch, and it did say that there was a chance of some nice plum flatties. Now he swallowed that right down, so I might struggle to get this out, but we'll have a try. I'll show you room and then I'll see what I can do. So yeah, that's a lovely big flatty. Nice and orange spot on one side, nice and white on the other side. Apparently the way to tell if it's a flounder is if you run your finger up here, it should feel rough. Actually that feels, it doesn't feel too rough. There's a little bit of roughness there, but it's not really rough. So I'm not entirely sure. If you know what you think that is, Is it a place or is it a flounder? I'd appreciate you letting me know. Just over 31 centimetres for that flatfish. Right, let's get another bit of fresh bait on here. So, on this bottom hook I'm putting just a little bit of caught onto what was already on there. So there's Bluey, caught and Mussell on that one. And on the top hook it's just, I've gone for the same, just Bluey with a little bit of Mussell. And the hook sticking out nicely there. I'll get this lobbed back out. Right, guys. Swapped over. Surprisingly warm today. I'm not feeling the cold at all. This is pretty washed out. It doesn't look like it's been touched, to be honest with you. So I think what I'll do is we'll get a fresh bait on. We'll get this casted out. We'll put a fresh bait on the little rod and we'll fish one more bait here, and then I think we'll head over to the pier and see what's happening up there. The more that's on there, the more chance there is of a fish catching a whiff of it and coming over. There we go. That looks almost good enough to eat. The water's dropping right off now, so there's not much depth here at all. That sandbank will start to be exposed shortly. So almost certainly not enough water to fish into. Right, I'm going to get this little rod in first. It's been bouncing around, there's a lot of swell. But I'll get this in first, we'll leave the bigger bait out for a bit longer. Yeah, there's nothing on here. We'll get this in and packed away, and then we'll get the big rod in, and then we'll shoot off. Right, as you can see, I'm not on Blythe Pier. I've had a change of plan. I was speaking to somebody as I was coming off that last mark, and they said that they'd been to the pier and it was heaving with people because there's a load of whitening. And I've done a couple from the pier lately. So I'm going to stick with my original plan, which is I'm now up at the mouth of the River Wansbeck, and I'm just going to put the light rod out into the bay and the big rod a bit further out to see if I can pick anything up. There's a good chance of flatties here. So if I get another couple of flatties, that would be a pretty decent day out. There's always a chance of other stuff here as well, such as the odd codlin, coalies, whiting obviously, but there's also bass get caught here. So there's a chance of anything really. We'll get this out. This is the little rod, the bass rod, and then I'll get the big rod out as well So like I say, I'm just going to chuck this into this kind of, it looks like there's a bit of a dip here in the water. And then I'll just walk the rod back up the beach. There was a load of weed on the beach up there. I had planned to be a bit further up that way, but it's covered, completely covered. And the water's full of weed as well. This looks like the clearest place. Right, got a nice big bait on this one and get that out. So on the little rod, I'm fishing the same again. I've got Bluey and a little bit of mussel too. The big rod I'm going to stick with the carp and squid with 2 hooks in place to hold it all together and hopefully hook into some of those fish. And I'm going to bind the squid head on again too, just for that bit extra smell in the water. There we go, nice big baits. So this is a bit different for me. Beach fishing, it's not something I've done, not from a sandy beach such as this. I think I've just had bites on the bass rod there. They were nice and sharp pull downs. Yeah, something might be playing with that. I think I've got something on. It could be a flatty. Hey, get in. There you go, second flatty of the day. That's not a bad little fish either. It's not as big as the last one. It's probably just size. A nice, quite plump Northumberland flounder. Excellent. You can see tip to bottom of the tail is 30 centimetres. So he's just oversized. I think I might just chuck it really short, to be honest with you. Just into this little bit bay here. Yeah, we'll just leave it there and see what happens close in. I think I've got a bit of weed stuck on the big rod because it's bobbing up and down and I can see something in the water there. Yeah, I think I'm into a big bit of weed there. Right, I'll bring this in. Yeah, this is onto a big bit of weed. I might just have to pull this up the beach, to be honest with you. It's a huge chunk. Not what I wanted on the end of my rod. Yeah, it's going to take some getting off. I've put a different rig on, so instead of going for big baits for big fish, I've got a 2 on the bottom and I've got a 1.0 on the top. So we'll fish a bit closer in, keep out of that weed, and we might get some more flatties. That would do me. I'll be more than happy. And I'm going to bring this little rod in, see if there's anything on here, except for weed. Nope, nothing. That was much closer in than I thought it was going to be. I thought I'd cast it further than that. I will put a bit fresh bait on though. I'll just tip a little bit more Bluey to it because it's very gooey, the stuff that I've got here, and it's definitely not going to last any longer than today. So I might as well use it up. Oh, there's a bite. It's a much stiffer rod than this light one, so any flatty bites might be quite hard to detect, but there is something happening there. I've just moved that rod tip right up I think it needs to be high up actually for it to register any bites. I'll just have to keep an eye on the rod stand and make sure it's not going to get pulled away. But most of the current is running right across the front. I'm kind of over that way. So it shouldn't get pulled in. Unless, of course, it gets a monster lump of crap on it. I have got a head torch with us if I need it. But I don't really plan to stay until it's dark, unless it suddenly starts to fish well. I'll probably head off in about an hour. But so far, so good. Hasn't been a bad day. The scenery at the minute, absolutely gorgeous. Look at that sunset. Perfect. You know what I've just noticed? I've missed one of the eyes on the rod. When I've put the line through, the second one from the end there. It's always one to watch out for when you're setting your rods up. Easily done. Right, well, you know how I was saying it was quite cold? That's the pack of mussel that I brought out. And believe it or not, I took that out the freezer last night, put it into the fridge overnight, and it's been in the box all day, and it's absolutely solid still. So even though it doesn't feel particularly cold, it is cold. It must be hovering just above freezing. Right, I'm going to bring in one of these rods. I'm going to put fresh bait on and get it out, and then I'll bring the other one in, get a fresh bait on that and get that out, and I think that's going to be it for the night. So this will be the last cast for each of them, and I think I'll bring in the little one first. Right, I'll get this one in. No fish. The baits aren't even touched again. Right, I'll get this swapped out. It's getting towards low water now. Right, same again. Completely fresh bait, get it out. And fish until that sun drops, which it almost has. I should really turn around so I can see the tip of the rod, shouldn't I? It could be doing anything when I'm not looking. Oh, it looks amazing at the minute. It's going into the golden hour. I'll give you a look when I've cast this out. Well, there's some cormorants diving over there, so there must be some fish around. Get this over there where that cormorant is. Close enough without bopping it on the head. Right, come on, fish gods. Give me a fish. I will be forever in your debt. Oh, the temperature's just gone whoosh. As soon as that sun's disappeared. Get ready to pack up and disappear. I think we'll not be getting any more fish out of here today. But that's okay. We've had two. It's not been a blank, which is always good. And it's been something different too. So I can get everything squeezed into here. It never goes in as well as what it does in the house. What's that all about? So that's the monkey bait that's left. It's 3:45. Let's get this in. I think we're just fishing for weed again. Yeah, not being touched. So I'm just using clip-off rigs, which is dead easy. I made them myself. I got some rigs off Josh, who's up in Long Horton. Hello Josh. Thank you very much for the rigs. I've still got all of them and I'm using them as a template for the ones that I make. And the ones I make are nowhere near as good as the ones you're doing, but they're doing the job and I'm improving every time. So thank you very much for those rigs. Much appreciated. Right, I'm gonna get this big rod in. Yeah, there's not much been at them baits either. So I think we're doing the right thing by getting myself away now. Right folks, I hope you've enjoyed. It's been a canny day out. I got some fish for you and more importantly some fish for myself, which we'll have to look about how to fill it and cook them, but I'm sure they'll be delicious when I do. So I'll plan something for next week. Hopefully I'll be out with Mark on Monday, weather dependent obviously, but yeah, I'll get something planned up. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. It's great that you are watching. It's great meeting you when I'm out and about as well, and it's very encouraging. Yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Cheers.